One of the primary ways in which we discover who we are is to really examine our biases. Some biases run so deeply that we think that they are our own. But they harken back to something. They're attached to something, maybe sentimental, maybe traditional, maybe due to a familiar political alignment. But these are ideologies. These are things that you were told, things that you embraced because there was no other alternative. Examine what you think you know. Criticize everything. Everything. And you'll begin to see who you are. You'll begin to see that there's a deeper person underlying all of that. It's interesting. One of the ways in which we do this is to target that which we have been told all of our lives, and to really think, how do I feel about that? You see, this is important because all of our biases, all of our future judgments, every ounce of information we take as truth or a good idea is going to be added to a foundation of what we quote-unquote already know. Now, here's a very important consideration. Life is an experience. What is truth? Truth is a very interesting topic because it's a word that is so very commonly used for things that, to be honest, can't really be true. They can be very good ideas. They can be very good ideologies or beliefs or suggestions. But whether or not they are true is a completely different matter. See, how do we know for ourselves if something is true if we don't experience it for ourselves? There's a gradient. There's a quality of infinite values from absolutely true to absolutely false. And because we're human, we don't do 100% or 0% very well because, well, we're imperfect in all regards. But if we take other people's word on what they say happened, and they say, this is what happened, if anyone should ask you, tell them exactly what I told you. The only thing that is true is that they told you what happened. You weren't there for yourself to verify the information. You weren't there when this exact circumstance occurred. It might make a very good story. It might be a very good idea. It might be even something that is repeatable should you actually go out and search for this experience. But it isn't true for yourself if you don't experience it for yourself. Want to know how something is true? Most of our experiences accompany a much greater set of feelings. It's It's more than just information. Truth is more than just information. It's simple, but it's inexpressible. It's like every life-changing event in your life. Every one of them is true for you. And it has such a deep impact because it resounds on more than just a true or false kind of situation. It hits your emotional chords. It seeps into your spirit. It's contained forever in your mind. It has this overwhelming quality of being able to re-experience those things. Whereas information, things you learn from a book, one, it's just something that the mind knows. You know you read it somewhere, but do you know it's really true? Secondly, how is it relevant? Relevance is a key factor in determining the quality of your information, is in determining the quality of your biases. That which you know for a fact that X happens and Y happens as a consequence. That's not just a bias. That's something that you've experienced to be true. Whether or not it's true every time is up to how many times you experience it. It might not be true for other people when they experience it, but it happened to you. And who are they to tell you that that's not what happened? But you can question when you read in books. You can question what other people tell you. And that's one of the major responsibilities we have in life. Because if we start building truths on hearsay or things that we read in books, then what happens when those things that we read in books or that hearsay is proven false? Is everything else that we believe, everything else that we built onto that, false? Are we going to hold on to it hoping that it's good enough? Are we going to question it for the rest of our lives? Why not criticize it now? Why not test your biases? Why not evaluate the source? Why not really determine how you feel about something? The soul, whether it's an individual entity inside each individual, or if it's a tentacle of the all conscious that reaches deep within each individual. These embodiments surpass us. They last longer than the physical. They know better than our physical minds, our brains. Run it by them. Run it by that inner self, or that all consciousness. Determine how it really feels. What benefit comes from believing these things? Who does it benefit? Does it benefit you, or does it harm you? Criticize everything. And that's a very good way to begin knowing who you are and what you stand for as a person.